All right, it is 10 minutes after the hour. It's Friday, March 8th, 2019, and I mentioned earlier 27 degrees outside. What's going on in this day in history? Well, it's the 67th day of the year. There are 298 days left, I guess, by advanced calculus, yeah. And the British are at it again, Shane. In 1702, England's Queen Anne ascended to the throne upon the death of King William III.
That's right. And in 1782, the Nunnenden massacre took place.
Ooh.
And for those American buffs, history buffs up there, it's also known as the Moravian massacre. Was March 8th, 1782, Pennsylvania. And it happened, obviously, during the American Revolutionary War. A village was descended on, Christian villages of Indians, actually. The Munsee, or Unami-speaking Lenni Lenape tribe of Ohio County, known as the Delaware Indians, were attacked because they were a bit, some of the people were upset with their infringement on their properties. And White Eyes, who was the Lenape chief at the time, went to the U.S. Congress and asked for help, and reported smallpox was the cause of the misunderstanding between the tribe and the locals. So there you go. That's a bit of a piece of Americana.
Wow. Holy smokes. Yeah. Well, in monetary news, 1817, the New York Stock and Exchange Board, which had its beginning in 1792, was formally organized. It later became known as the New York Stock Exchange. And
that's right.
We report on that on a regular basis.
And then the beginning of capitalism, basically.
That was it. Yeah. Yeah.
There you
beginning of, in the 100 years since that, 1817 to 1917, the world changed dramatically.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. Biggest 200 years in history, I would say.
I would think, everything that's happened, and especially the social economic concepts that have been tested over the last 200 years. Right?
Mm-hmm. 1854, U.S. Commodore Matthew C. Perry made his second landing in Japan. Within a month, he concluded a treaty with the Japanese. So 1845 and 1945, we're at it again.
There we go. Yeah, back to negotiating.
Yeah,
now you'll negotiate first.
Every 100 years, we gotta beat up the Japanese, I guess.
Yeah. Right.
Well, so I guess in 2045 or whatever, I guess we'll be back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Back fighting Japan again. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
In 1874, the 13th President of the United States, Millard Fillmore, died in Buffalo, New York at the age of 74, and Millard Fillmore was the first president to put a bathtub in the White House.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is probably where he caught his cold.
That could be. I don't know. But anyway.
Yep. And 1917, this is important, the U.S. Senate voted to limit filibusters.
Yeah.
By adopting the closure rule, which we hear about all the time now,
Mm-hmm.
In your U.S. Senate, the closure rule and the filibuster. So it was limited in 1917, over 100 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. Well, also in 1917, on this date, Russia's February Revolution began in Petrograd. The result was the abdication of the Russian monarchy in favor of a provincial government that was overthrown later the same year by who? The Bolsheviks.
That's right, led by Trotsky and Lenin. And Trotsky left because he didn't like what Lenin was doing, went to Mexico, and Lenin sent the bad boys after him and took him out.
Yep, there you go. That goes to show you don't mess with Lenin.
That's right.
Well, in 1942, the Imperial Japanese forces occupied Rangoon during World War II, so one of the big battles there back in the day. And in 1965, the United States landed its first combat troops in South Vietnam as 3,500 Marines arrived to defend the U.S. Air Base at Da Nang.
Yeah, the Marines always go in first, right? Right. Since
Yep.
Tripoli in Africa back,
Hmm.
when Jefferson was president. Yeah, that's
Yep.
right.
And I arrived a year later, about, well, January of
Did you?
'66. Yeah.
Wow.
That was my, yeah. No, let's see. Yeah. Yeah. It would have been January of '66. Yeah.
That
So
was your descent into Vietnam,
that
eh?
was my descent, man.
Love the hat, buddy. You look great.
I was a big target. I didn't get off my knees for the first 7 months. I was there.
Yeah, that's right. Lower the elevation and pray.
Yeah. 1979, technology firm Philips demonstrated a prototype compact disc player during a press conference in Eindhoven, the Netherlands. So the first CD player. And 1979, and those are almost gone now because streaming and everything else. I have a portable CD player that hooks up to my computer, but we got one that plays movies, I guess, whatever.
Yeah,
but,
I have a 16-year-old Dell laptop that you can still stick a CD.
Oh, stick a CD in the side of it. Yeah, I've got an old Mac that you can do the same thing with. So yeah.
Hey, we can't forget the 1971 Joe Frazier defeating
Oh,
Muhammad
yeah.
Ali at Madison Square Gardens.
Yep.
Big fight.
That was a big fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yep. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, forever etched in our memories.
Right, and 3 fights they had.
Yeah,
right?
they did. The Thrilla in Manila and whatever.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah. 1983, in a speech to the National Association of Evangelists convention in Orlando, Florida, President Ronald Reagan referred to the Soviet Union as the evil empire.
Good call on his part.
It
right?
was, yeah.
Between that claim and Star Wars, that had a lot to do with bankrupting the Soviet Union and its collapse.
Yeah, and took them down without firing a shot. So there you are. Now they're taking us down without firing a shot.
Well, I don't know.
Well, I guess they're trying to. I don't know. We'll see what Mueller has to say about that.
1999 Baseball Hall of Famer Joe DiMaggio died at 84. Wow, was he great or what?
In Florida, yeah. Still holds the record for the most consecutive hits, 54, 52, something like that. When you figure 162 games and you hit safely in 54 or so in a row, that's pretty hard to do.
Hard to do. It's hard for him just to hit the ball today.
I was going to say, yeah. That's one of the few sports, if you fail 70% of the time, you end up in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly. Exactly. A game of mediocrity.
That's right. Well, we all remember in 2014, the Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, a Boeing 777 with 239 people on board, vanished during a flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, setting off a massive search. So.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of the famous American Supreme Court justices, Oliver Wendell Holmes, died today.
Yeah.
He was quite a remarkable man.
Mm-hmm.
Made a lot of major decisions. Born in 1841, died in 1935. So, he was busy during the time of the Civil War and all the Dred Scott decisions and everything.
Yeah, and right into FDR almost. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amazing. What an amazing.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting time to have been alive during those.
Yeah.
What was happening there to the United States and the way it was transgressing into the new millennium.
Well, and you go from watching the country go from an agrarian society to an industrial one, and all the magical stuff that he saw, the telegraph, the telephone, radio, and yet there he was sitting on the court during the Dred Scott decision in the Civil War. Wow.
Yeah.
What a time.
That was something. Yeah. Well, Kuala Lumpur is one of the places Vietnamese, or those of us who were in Vietnam, that was one of the places we went for R&R. So.
Oh, really? Did you
could
really?
go to yeah. I never went anywhere.
Oh, of course you did.
No.
Like high school. You didn't do anything wrong in high school.
No.
Not you.
No, I never had enough money to go anywhere and do anything. Yeah. Even they transport you over there, what do? You got to sleep somewhere. You got to have a beer somewhere. And I don't know, wandering around Kuala Lumpur alone.
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
I said, I think I'll stay here.
Yeah, right. Like you would never be alone. You and your buddies would all be together.
Well, there was only one per unit that could go. It wasn't
Oh,
like
really?
yeah, you couldn't go as a group. They
Yeah.
send over. Well, we got one or two spaces, so. And our company commander says, "I'm never sending back an R&R with nobody going. Somebody's going." So.
So what about Saigon? Did you go to Saigon?
Oh well, yeah, but that was an R&R. Well, we went to Saigon I think for the first 6 months, and then we were confined to base because Saigon just became too dangerous.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, that's sad.
for yeah. Well, it was more of they were assaulting soldiers, taking their money, things like that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't North Vietnamese hadn't invaded Saigon,
Not
but
yet.
yeah, not yet anyway. So all right, we've got to take a quick break here. No Montana news and agriculture today. I guess they didn't send anything over to us, but we do have Jeff McGinnis with the Headwaters Livestock Report. So we'll do that, and then we'll come right back. 23 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock, it is Friday, finally Friday, March 8, 2019, 27 degrees outside. Shane Matavin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, half man, half amazing, and Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house, and you're on the KMMS Morning Soapbox, and our snow, Shane, we had a cave-in at MSU. We had a roof collapse there.
What a picture. That's
Yeah.
like it's all in one piece.
Yeah, it just
Like,
kind of all came down. So, well, we're talking about redoing Schroyer Gym. I'm not sure if this isn't the Schroyer Gym, but they're obviously they may have to dip into their endowment fund
Just a little
and
bit.
do
Not
something
much.
here. So, the flat roof of the South Gym at the Montana State University PE complex collapsed early Thursday, injuring no one, but certainly shocked people on the campus. They were grateful no one was hurt, of course, but shocked the the campus community woke up to this kind of situation. So I would guess not only did they lose the roof, but if it's a PE complex, I guess they lost a lot of cycles and treadmills and other stuff in there, weight
all kinds of
rooms,
gym equipment. Yeah.
I would think so.
It's interesting because you look at those roofs on that picture they have in the newspaper, and you
Yeah.
wonder why don't they have some kind of system to melt it, right?
Well, you'd think so. I mean, with the amount of snow that we get, although
Yeah.
we've gotten so much here recently that it's it didn't happen all that often. But what was it, 95? I think we had 25 inches of snow on Christmas Day. You would think it would have. I think it would have done that day. I had to go out and snow blow every 3 hours to keep the sidewalk clean.
Oh, don't tell me you climbed the roof and did the roof too.
No, I didn't do the roof, but it didn't cave in, thankfully. But let's take a phone call. We got a caller patiently waiting. Caller, thanks for calling. You're on the Morning Soapbox. What's up?
Hey, Tom. Hey, I was kind of wondering, you do say you like winter, but
I do.
every time it snows,
I bet. I bet you wine, don't I?
yeah, you say you wish it wouldn't come.
Yeah.
But we're also the headwaters of the Missouri River,
Yeah.
and we need this snow for the rest of the country, and our economy depends on it a lot. We've got 2 ski areas around here.
Yeah.
Montana has several ski areas.
That's true.
Every time it's going to snow or it gets cold, you complain about it.
No, I don't. I like winter.
San Diego, I think what's their median temperature is something like 73.
Yeah, it's 73 or 75 every day.
It only rains there 5 days a year.
Yeah. Now, what I didn't like about San Diego was I had to mow every week.
Yeah, see.
So I like this.
You don't like summer or winter.
No, I don't.
I just don't understand anybody that lives in Montana and complains about the snow.
Well, that's true. And
then when it's March, when we get a lot of snow anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody's like, I am so over winter.
Yeah.
Well, you are just setting yourself up for disappointment here. We got another few months. Come on.
I was going to say, look at that big snow we had in June a few years back that brought all the trees down all over town. It took till October to clean it up.
Exactly. So anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just once I'd like to hear you. Yippee, it's snowing.
Yippee, it's going to snow.
Thanks, Tom.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for the call. All right, I appreciate it. I love winter. I can't get enough of it. It should be like daylight savings time. You should be able to set winter in your thermostat or something.
Exactly. And of course you have me on to warn you that it's coming.
That's right. Yeah, because we get it before you get it before we do. So, oh man. No, I think. Well, I just complain that it's going to snow because of I'm commiserating with the listeners. I mean, I'm feeling their pain. You know, I like the snow. Well, I'll tell you, I like the snow a lot more being retired. Now,
Probably,
driving into town every morning, no.
Exactly.
Not like when I was working, but sitting at home with, my warm beverage, looking out the window, watching the snowfall was pretty gratifying. I like that, but as long as I didn't have to go out in it. So I appreciate the caller's pain there. And he's right. March, April, June. It'll be the end of June before it's warm enough to sit out on the deck probably in the morning and have your coffee. So, what do you say? We got 10 months of winter and 2 months of soggy sledding or something like that.
Soggy sledding. That's good. Yeah. Slush sledding.
Slushy sledding. Yeah. Whatever. Something like that. So. But anyway, we were talking about this bridge or this gym collapse at MSU, and it did happen early in the morning, thankfully. So it was about 2:00 in the morning, I guess, it collapsed. So nobody was there. That would have been pretty drastic if it had happened in the daytime when the thing is full of people doing their exercises and everything like that. That could have been a huge loss of life and a real sad experience. So if it has to collapse, do it in the middle of the night, I guess.
There you go. Mother Nature on your side.
There you are. All right, we got a duck outer, pay a couple bills and stuff like that. We got Montana State News, got Fox News, got the weekend weather, or the weekday weather, I should say, with Brooke. And she'll probably tell you it's going to snow. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah,
so
she'll confirm it.
Who knows? What does she know? All right, Shane and I will be back. Trust us, right after this. 46 minutes before the top of the hour. Hey, I want to alert you to Bozeman Health Pediatrics. They're presenting Kitabaloo. That's Saturday, April 6th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to be at the Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. Tickets are on sale at ticketswest.com or at the Brick Breeden ticket office. And they've got a limited supply of discounted family packs, 4 tickets for $10. And those are going to go up to 20 shortly. So get over there and check that out at either ticketswest.com or the Brick Breeden ticket office. But great fun for the kids. They'll have a bouncy house deal going on there, giant slides and all kinds of things like that. They'll have the Harrington Pepsi performance stage with martial arts and characters from all the various TV programs and movies and all of that. Montana PBS characters. Curious George will be there. Popular children's movie and story characters. The Raptors are going to be there too, the big birds. So if you want to check that out. Balloon artist, face painting. Pam Williams will be there with her race car, and the police department and fire department will be there with the trucks and the police cars and everything, so the kids can get a view of all of that. So check it out, April 6th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. I'll get it in a minute. Presented by the Bozeman Health Pediatrics. Tickets are on sale now at ticketswest.com or the Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. So about 2,500 people showed up there last time. So it's great fun for the kids. Mom and Dad get to look around at some of the booths and things that are there. So have a good time and enjoy yourself at Kitabaloo. So, Let's see, Shane from our text line. Wasn't it Stalin who sent someone to kill Trotsky? Was it Stalin or was it Lenin? We don't know.
May have been Stalin, but you're probably right, Stalin.
It could be. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know if it was Destroyer Gym or not, but I guess it's near the gym anyway. But the gym roof collapse begs the question of why the heck do we have flat roofs here? Kind of a big bag of duh. I would agree with that, texter. So if you want to text the show, we got a new text line, 478-8298, 478-8298. Put that in your speed dial, and you can text the show. Or give us a call, 522-TALK, 522-8255, 406 area code, obviously, if you're outside of our immediate listening area. So, yeah, we're having a good time here this morning. We're looking at some of the things that are going on. The other thing that we talked about, Shane, that's going to happen, I guess, if the Gallatin commissioners can get their act together, they're going to put the Law and Justice Center yet again on the November ballot. Fourth time's the charm, I guess. I don't know. We'll see what they plan. But as we mentioned a few days back, there's also going to be that $200 park fee stuck in there too. Yeah, so right. That may make people pause about, boy, do I want to spend $200 and pay for this Law and Justice Center both. So I don't know. That could be a long voting day for the county.
Well, so, I can make the call. You can't, but I say that it doesn't pass.
You think it'll go down in flames?
I think it'll go down because most of the callers we get, they're not happy about it.
Yeah. Let's see. This June 7th should be the 10th anniversary of the snowfall. I came August of that year and only heard about it. Well, if you were here in August, you probably saw the limbs and everything that were down all over town. So that was from one of our texters at 478-8298. So, well, yeah, I tend to agree with you. The Law and Justice Center, I think the name itself just puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth. It doesn't matter what it costs. Yeah. It's just I don't know. We need it, certainly. The police, the sheriff's folks need a place to have of their own. Right now, they're hanging their uniforms in the bathrooms in the Law and Justice Center, the current one. So I'm sure that doesn't make the uniforms all that fragrant. But
no, yeah. So, I wonder if that smell flows into the courtroom.
I don't know about that. But anyway, they're looking at a 2-story building which will house the sheriff's office, the Justice and District Court, the County Attorney's Office, the Youth Court Services, Victim Services, and the Clerk of the District Court's office. So initially, they'd recommended asking voters to approve a bond issue for the project, but have since decided to look into other funding mechanisms as well. So there you go.
There you go.
So we'll see.
And now the Yellowstone National Park is ready to begin bison trapping. Wow.
Yeah, we're going to do some bison trapping there and check them for brucellosis or whatever that's called.
Yeah, shouldn't they just get some cowboys?
I think it is brucellosis.
Yeah, shouldn't they just get some cowboys down there and round them up?
Well, they should, yeah. Plenty of people. I don't know if I want to round them up in this snow.
That's true.
But why not wait till it's a little better,
a little warmer.
Yeah. Well, I would think the horses can't see what's under that snow.
That's right.
I mean, there's holes and there's rocks and everything. So it looks like you're asking for a real problem there. But yeah, every so often we got to round up the bison down there and check them out and see what's going on with them. So we should be doing that. So. Right now, we got to take a quick break. Town Pump and some other folks want to talk to you, but hey, no babble and no Noxatril. So enjoy. All right, 16 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Friday, March 8th, 2019. We've dropped down to 25 degrees, Shane, so I'm not sure what's happening out there, but spitting a little snow when I came in this morning, so I'm not sure if it's snowing yet or not, but somewhere it probably is. It seems like it's snowing someplace every day, but...
yeah. Did you find parking today?
Oh, well, I park in the handicap spot right out front of the station, so right. See, I got my own parking spot. Yeah. So I'm
the righteous eagle man with the new knees.
That's right. Well, with my new knees, I get the preferred parking everywhere I go. So that's a pretty cool deal, actually. You know,
it is, and a fair one.
And it is a fair one. But all right. Montana universities, state voters have approved the 6 mil levy every 10 years since 1948. Shane. And
for the university, right?
Yeah, it's Montana State University, and it's a mill levy that does the whole state. It provides money for all of the about $20 million a year for state campuses, but they're looking at Senate Bill 152, and maybe Monday we can talk with Scott Sales about that.
Sure.
Sponsored by Senator Dick Barrett, a Missoula Democrat, passed the Senate 27 to 23 in February. Now it's headed for the House Taxation Committee, and what they're looking at, they're wondering if they could add to it or not. So we'll see how that happens. But they don't think it's going to be a heavy lift in the House Taxation Committee, and they gave an update on the university priorities in the legislature on Thursday, and at the start of the meeting there in Helena. So state voters have approved the 6 mil levy every 10 years since 1948, as I mentioned earlier. Last year it passed with 63% of the vote for yes. So maybe it's time to take yes for an answer. People have argued the statewide vote is just a great affirmation of public support, he said, but his sense of pride is dimmed by the need to raise $1.6 million more to get the word out to the voters, and next time it could cost more than $3 million. So once again, you're looking at what's going on with the with those things. So. It's
pretty cool that they added that 2-year tuition freeze for the students of Montana, so probably helps get that help to move along.
Yeah, the 2-year
freeze.
The 2-year freeze will be helpful to a lot of the newer students, at least, particularly when they have to get student loans and all the other stuff. That you've got to do there. So yeah, it's. We'll see how that goes through the House. We'll try and remember to talk to Scott Sales about it on Monday when
on
he's
the list.
Yeah, on our list. So, the other thing that's going on, Shane, this is kind of cool. The Equinox Realty Partners, Gallatin Valley Food Bank, are partnering to swap and hand out seeds Friday to encourage gardeners to grow an extra row of food and donate that row to the food bank. So
there you go, the War Garden.
Yeah, that's what we used to have. Or Victory Gardens we used to have back in the day, where you grow food and donate it to the soldiers and whatever. So grow a row follows a national trend.
Good.
Yeah, grow a row. Where local harvesters plant an extra row of produce to donate back to the community's food bank. So that's certainly worthwhile if you're out there. If you've got a little garden out in your backyard or front yard or wherever it is, hoe up an extra row there and plant some stuff for the food bank, and they will be happy to get it to the right people. And the food bank serves 1,240 homes each month, Shane, and roughly 3,228 people, according to its website. And the goal of Grow a Row is to help keep up with that demand. And the event will be, they're going to have an event for it. It'll be at 6 to 9 p.m. at Beal Park, 415 North Bozeman Avenue. So if you're familiar with that, so at Beal Parks, and you might want to mute your phone when you do that, but
I thought I did.
No, you
I'm
didn't.
sorry.
You didn't mute anything.
Wow.
So stop that.
I apologize.
Go in the bathroom and hack if you need to.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I thought I muted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that's going on, the Montana House, they're going to begin work on the state budget. And so that's always the big thing. You know, they're looking at they're looking at $4.3 billion, as well as cutting about 100 of the agency's 400 vacant positions. So talk about your non-essential personnel. So
yeah, I guess if they're vacant,
they're going to
people's lives. Yeah.
Well,
why do we have these positions?
Yeah. Well, they want to use that money to increase the rates paid to workers who provide Medicaid covered services. So I guess that's a good use of that money. So let's put 100 people out of work so we can spend it somewhere else. Yeah, that works. So. All right, we got to take another quick break and talk to some local folks here. So, hey, stay tuned. We'll be right back. 8 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Friday, March 8, 2019, 25 degrees outside. Shaman Taubman on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. And Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor in the house. And we've got a caller on the line. Caller, you are on the KMMS Morning Soapbox. What's up?
Well, I was just wondering. I saw the timber sale went through to the Save the Gallatin Forest or whatever.
Yeah, Save the Gallatin Front, I think it was. Yeah.
Gallatin Front.
Mm-hmm.
So when all that timber goes up in smoke, are they the ones we sue for not managing the forest?
Well, I would say so. Yeah, that's 443 acres, and if you, as I always point out, an acre is about the size of a football field without the end zone. So 443 football fields out there. That's a pretty big piece of land.
I just thought that might be a question that has to be asked.
Well, that could be. I guess if you're in charge of the land, and they will be for the next 25 years. So.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Well, I just, cleaning our forests out would be good.
Well, I think so too. It's a renewable resource. Why not?
Yep, I agree.
I think people are more responsible than they were years ago when they just, willy-nilly,
cut.
Yeah, just clear cut everything. I mean, now they cut in sections and then they replant those sections, and then it's like the Christmas tree farms where they've always got Christmas trees coming every year.
Right. And if you can look like in Germany, they manage their forests. And stuff like that. So it just interesting thing. I'm glad I don't live close to that. I'm a little bit further out into the plains, but it's. When it goes up, I sure would be thinking that, well, there's the ones we got to go after.
Yeah, as long as we have the Ninth Circuit Court, they are so pro-environmentalist that, until that changes, I know Trump replaced one of the judges there, but they've got replaced 3 of them. Sorry, so they got 9, I think, altogether. So it's going to be tough to get a majority vote in there for a while. So.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for the call. Yeah.
You guys have a great day.
All right. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Let's see, Shane. Jamie Ramon Mercader del Rio, more commonly known as Ramon Mercader, was a Spanish communist and NKVD agent. He assassinated Bolshevik revolutionary Leon Trotsky in Mexico City in August of 1940, and he served 20 years in a Mexican prison. 20 years in a Mexican prison in 1940. Thank you very much for that. Wow. He was almost beat to death by Trotsky's bodyguards.
Yeah, that's right.
And ended up in a hospital, of course. Trotsky died at the hospital, I guess. They attacked him with an axe, an ice axe.
An ice axe, yeah, exactly.
No guns needed back then. Yeah, we'll just axe you.
Accident.
But anyway, he was nearly beaten to death by Trotsky's bodyguards and spent 20 years in a Mexican prison for murder. So, wow.
Well, I guess his bodyguards got their wax in.
I guess they did. Ha, 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 ha. That's so good. All right. Well, as we mentioned earlier, the Montana is going to start working on the budget. I think they went back to work yesterday, and so now the budget's got to be done, and so they're cutting some positions, I guess. We regularly recruit to do the best we can in the hiring and training of employees, but some positions have gone unfilled for several years, so the 100 that are proposed to be eliminated had been held open for at least a year or more, so no applicants for that. So I guess if the money is set aside for those employees and they're not there, then that's not as bad as putting people out of work if there's nobody in that position, so that's a pretty good deal. Several people testified against further cuts in social services for the disabled or mentally ill, arguing they just lead to people needing more costly services such as nursing home admission to the state mental hospital or prison. So, yeah. So the budget, no question, in a state this small with the number of services we have to provide or should provide is tough. It's a very tough deal.
But it's still a very large budget. I mean, billions of dollars is billions of dollars.
Well, it is $4.3 billion, but also you got to pay everybody that's working in the government, and that probably takes half of it. Then you got all the people on the dole, plus that. So yeah, a billion here, billion there. Pretty soon you're talking about real money, but but 4.3. I mean, what? Trump wants 5.7 for a 200 miles of wall.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I don't know, but anyway, we'll see how that vote comes out. And as I say, Scott Sales will join us Monday morning at 7:00, so maybe we can ask him where the budget resolution is, and we can also ask him about that Senate bill that we talked about earlier.
So I have a question for you.
Go for it.
When families get immunization for their babies, do you pay for it? Does the government pay for immunization, or do parents have to pay for their immunization?
I would bet it falls under the maternity insurance, health insurance.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know that for a fact, but okay. Maybe if somebody out there that has had a baby or has a baby or whatever
maybe
that
call in, let
would
us
know. Yeah, call in and let us know. But I just assume all the hospital expenses are turned over to the insurance company, and they foot the bill for it. And I would guess there are some parents that would opt out of immunization. Some people don't like their kids to be immunized.
Yes.
They don't have faith in the immunization process or the drugs that are being pumped into their kid. So, I don't know.
Did you say pumped?
They're pumped. Well, they're pumped with a syringe. You kind of.
I think the word is injected.
Oh, injected. Okay, well. Okay.
Let's go get our baby pumped, darling. Come on. We'll stop at the gas station on the way.
That's right. Hey, well, Shane and I will be back to pump you up.
There you go.
With the 5 things you need to know right after the top of the hour. So stay tuned. A lot more coming on the Morning Soapbox. Happy to be here with you. It's finally Friday. We're getting some snow over the overnight tonight, so be careful out there. And we need all the listeners we can get. So take care of yourself. Stay safe. And we'll be back after the news at the top of the hour. And, hey, don't forget Kitabaloo. Bozeman Health Pediatrics is presenting that Saturday, April 6th, 10 to 3 at the Brick Beaton Fieldhouse. We'll be right back. 3 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., it is Friday, March 8, 2019, 25 degrees outside. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox. If you want to be a part of the big broadcast today, it's easy to do. You can call us at 522-TALK, 522-8255. You can text our show at 478-8298. And Shane Taubman, my co-host, Vancouver, British Columbia, half man, half amazing, and Tom Egeloff, your morning mayor in the house. And hey, well, 5 things you need to know, Shane.
And the first one's a biggie for us, buddy.
It is a biggie. What is it?
Paul Manafort, 47 months in prison. No, it's a big for us because, we called this back in May of 2016.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, he was gone within the month of the Chicago Tribune having the story out, and we picked it up.
Yep.
And we talked about it, and we said, boy, based on this story, this guy's in serious trouble, probably going to go to jail.
Yeah.
And it was about the Federal Savings Bank in Chicago. Why, why a bank in Chicago would lend him $6.5 million for his New York condo. You and I looked at this and said, boy, there's something stinky here.
Yeah. But it is Chicago. So.
Yeah, well, it is Chicago.
Yeah, think about that.
To all of our listeners out there, got to pat ourselves on the back because we called it first, baby.
Yeah, we did. So, but we thought he would probably get 3 years. They wanted to give him 20 years, and he probably deserves 20 years. But the judge said, nah, that seems a little harsh for just a few $1 million in bank fraud. Plus, he's got to pay it back, I guess, or pay a lot of it back.
Well, and plus that judge in Washington, D.C. threw him in solitary confinement, and he's been in there for like 7-8 months. That's terrible. That's horrific.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they wanted between 19 and 25 years, but he's 69, so he'll be out in time to collect his Social Security and live on the street in San Francisco somewhere.
Well, I'll bet Robert Mueller wasn't in the courtroom yesterday, but his team was because they had to go back to their offices going, this didn't work out the way we wanted it to.
Well, it didn't have the clout, for the number of things that he did. That's just the amount of money, the sheer amount of money.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just the $6 million for the house. There was several million for other investments,
for sure.
And he, bank fraud, IRS fraud, whatever. Didn't pay taxes on several million dollars. I mean, come on.
But last year, this went before Judge T.S. Ellis, and he's the one who said last year things that are important. He, when this first came up before his court, he said to the Molnar group, because Molnar was there.
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay, I know what's going on here. You're going after the president. Let's not kid ourselves. Whether this guy sings or makes up a story, I know what's going on here. You know what's going on here." And the interesting thing about this yesterday was that Ellis in his courtroom specifically said, aside from announcing this, this sentence, he said that there's no collusion here. And the reason that's important is that he didn't say that Trump wasn't involved in collusion. He said there's no collusion here. And that's important because he forced the Molnar prosecution to provide all the information they had. So, he's already seen the report.
Yeah. Well, or at least what they had up to that point.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
So, the majority of this stuff, not to excuse it in any way or not to distance it from Trump in any way, but most of this was done before he became the campaign chair or whatever position he had.
Well, didn't we learn in high school, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime, right?
Well, yeah, that's true.
That was enough to scare me.
Well, I would think so. Yeah. I remember when I was playing high school basketball, we went to a tournament in Pontiac, Michigan, or Pontiac, Illinois, where the prison is. And
wow.
They said, "Do you guys want to take a tour of the prison while you're here?" And I said, "Well, sure. Why not?" So we went we took a tour of this prison, and this was in 1960, I guess, 1959, 1960, somewhere in there. And the only experience I'd ever had with prison was prison movies.
Sure.
Where everyone in a prison movie was white. And in Pontiac, everyone in the prison was black. So,
bad.
But I do remember one thing that really I remember to this day. They showed us the electric chair, and they swing open this big door that bangs, when they slam it back. And there's this chair sitting here in this dark room, and when you're talking about deter for the crime.
Exactly.
That would be one that I wouldn't want to sit in there. So I don't think they have it anymore, but it really made an impression on me that I remember to this day, But any place we walked into, all the prisoners would immediately back up against the wall. You know, we saw the barber shop and cafeteria and, you know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, but
the normal stuff.
Yeah, just the regular day-to-day stuff. So, but yeah, anyway, yeah, 47 months. I don't know. That seems light to me. You know, I don't know, but I think Mueller would consider that light to do. Yeah,
I know, but in Canada, for every day you spend in solitary, they give you 10 days off. Yeah. You know how you know, like he's been in solitary for like 7 months.
Yeah. Well, but so, you're a socialist wacko pinko country up there, you know. Nothing but communist.
True. Yeah, you kill your wife and go to prison for 6 years.
That's right. So
go read the
cheaper than the divorce, isn't it? And you get you get 3 squares and food and a place to sleep.
Yeah, it's just enough time to read the Encyclopedia Britannica.
That's right. All right. Well, also in this week, the U.S. gained 20,000 jobs in February, smallest increase in 17 months. So last month we had 300 and some thousand jobs, and this month we've only got 20,000. So that's a pretty small amount for the. They were expecting 172,000, so that's a pretty dramatic difference there. In January they had 304. They adjusted up to 311,000, and the unemployment rate fell to 3.8 from 4.0 in the previous month. So, but looking at the labor participation rate, is still not moving very much, Shane. The people that are out of work are staying out of work.
That's right. And the Dow, the Dow's down 230, the S&P 524, and NASDAQ 83.
Yeah.
So, it's or NASDAQ 100. So the market's reflecting it, right?
Well, it is. Yeah. It's looking at that and it's saying, hey, what happened to our growth? You know, we do have a 3% increase in pay year over year from last year, 3.4 from 3.2. That's the largest jump since the end of the recession in 2009. So at least people are taking home a little more money or making a little more. Whether they're taking it home or not, I don't know.
Well, and the interesting thing, though, too, the other reflection is the U.S. bond market. The U.S. 30 is still over three points. So it's not a number anyone wanted to see because of the anticipation of the expanding economy. But on the other side, the impact will be in equities, not so much the bond or currencies. So that's a good thing. Yeah, the market's still strong.
Well, the other thing that has hurt the markets is they're wondering if this China deal is ever going to take place, and they're kind of acting like it ain't going to happen.
Well, and it's putting off decision making because people, depending on the size of the company, whether you're small or large, you plan ahead, and until it's dealt with, the people have a hard time planning. Yeah, it's simple. It's not a complicated issue, but how do you plan for what I'm going to buy for inventory next year?
Yeah. From our text line 478-8298, do you think the sentence was in part a message to Mueller? I doubt it because the sentence was done by a judge, and unless the judge has got some deal with Mueller or is a Republican or whatever.
Well, quite honestly, I don't know. I think it does have a message to Mueller, but I think it's a greater message to the American people that this judge looked at Mueller's investigation and didn't like what he saw. I really think, these are process crimes, that most of the people, all the liberals keep talking about how many people Mueller's, grabbed in his net. Mm-hmm. But as we discussed, they're process crimes, meaning after the investigation started, that stuff people did, like lying to the FBI or what have you, right?
Well, some of those things certainly, but in this particular case, though, these were pretty serious crimes that Manafort did,
Yeah, but we talked about this in 2016, as I said to you, and we went and looked it up. And, Comey and the FBI investigated Manafort in 2014 about this and did nothing. They didn't prosecute him. Eric Holder wouldn't prosecute him back in 2014. Yeah. So, come on, let's go here.
Well, at least Mueller finally did. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, it
and rightfully so.
Yeah. But I don't know. I guess it could have been a message to Mueller as to, don't waste my time with these slam dunk things. Maybe, I don't know. But let's see what the callers have to say. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox. What's going on?
Yeah, you didn't get to finish up, I don't think, with that poor guy that keeps calling in to try to box you in the corner.
Oh, I'm going to do that at 8 o'clock.
Oh, you're going to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, shoot, that anybody that has half a brain, if they can't see that we need a wall, and then there's people down on the border that are willing to donate their land, and he wants that poor guy, he wants to fight with you guys and stuff all the time, and he just doesn't get it, I don't think, and if and I don't know if he thinks he's going to turn the world around from being a liberal in Bozeman, Montana, but you could tell he was about ready to hyperventilate yesterday on you. So anyway, I just wanted to.
I plan on doing a little bit of that at the 8 o'clock hour. Yeah. The reason I'm waiting till 8 o'clock is because a lot of the people that were listening at that time, we may reach some of the same people who are familiar with what we're talking about.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I don't know if I'll be around. I'm feeding horses and stuff, but I wanted to touch base. But good job, though. I mean, it's tough when being on the radio like that. It's tough to fight with somebody. So
I don't like to fight with people. You throw a brick at me, you'll get a brick back.
Yeah.
But, mostly we want to have conversations and exchange viewpoints and things like that. But sometimes it's not easy to do.
No.
But we are recording the show, and it'll be up probably about noon. So if you missed it, you can hear my rant or whatever I've got to say at 8 o'clock.
All right, thanks.
All right, hey, thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks for the call.
Yeah.
All right, take care. All right, yeah, we'll for the benefit of people who didn't hear yesterday, Andy the Socialist called it in the 8 o'clock hour. So we don't have Jennifer today, so I thought I would. Maybe we'll have some of the same people listening then as listened yesterday, and we'll. I want to talk a little bit about it from the radio side of it. Anyway, but let's take one more phone call, and we got to take a break. Caller, you are on the Soapbox. What's your name? What's up?
Good morning, Tom. I'm Don.
Hi, Don.
I tried to call you yesterday, but I couldn't get through.
Yeah, well, it was a phone lines lit up.
I'm on that wall subject.
Yes.
My youngest granddaughter is engaged to a fella that was on the border down there a year and a half ago, and there was people going out. He was out on the desert there in Arizona, and there was people coming across, and he and his partner drove out there. And when they got there was two vehicles, and one of them had a bunch of ladies around it, and the other didn't seem to have anything around it. And so they stopped, and he got out, and the other fellow got out, and he had a German police dog, drug dog, with him. And they got out, and they were walking towards the people, and all of a sudden, some folks, he doesn't know how many, jumped out from behind the other rig, and they shot him. They shot and killed his partner, and they killed the dog.
Wow.
They thought he was dead, and he played dead.
Yeah, well, smart thing to do.
Yeah, and they left him, and he got on his phone and called, and they had helicopters and everything out there trying to catch those folks. But he said a wall is very important.
Yeah.
And that's somebody that was there and, in the business. He's now in the process of becoming a patrolman, highway patrolman in Nevada.
Yeah.
Which they have to go through some things, but
sure. He
was actually not fired, but he was turned loose after he got well from being shot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would think that would probably affect your job performance as to, how. That's sad. I'm glad he survived, certainly for the sake of your.
We didn't know him when that happened, but he's going to be into the family. They're engaged.
Well, good. Well, good for them.
Congratulations. Our prayers to him. And thank him for his duty in protecting your nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's eyes on. We all have speculation what's going on there, but that was something.
Well, that's what I say. I think people are forming their own opinions without actually being there and seeing what's going on, and I'm guilty of that as well. But you look at the success of walls around the world, and what would it hurt? I guess that's my point of view.
Well, said if there was a wall out there, they couldn't have done what they did.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go. Hey, thanks for the call, and our best to your family.
You bet.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back in 90 seconds. 22 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It is Friday, March 8, 2019, 26 degrees outside. Tommy Goff, your morning mayor, and you're on the KMMS Morning Soapbox. Shane Batalman, my co-host in Vancouver, British Columbia, half man, half amazing. And, we got off on the wall. A couple texts, things from our text line, Shane, that we need to catch up on here. So let me get thing up here. It's snowing at 7 a.m. Wherever this texture is at 478-8298. And the four seasons in Montana: early winter, winter, late winter, and more winter. There you go. That's our four seasons there. So. So
see, you're not the only one that complains about winter.
Of course not. No. That's why I say we have 10 months of snow and 2 months of soggy sledding. So
there you
it's
go.
All right. Well, I think if you've lived here any length of time, you've seen snow in every month of the year. I have. I've been here 25 years, and we've seen snow in June, July, August. Now, we didn't get, like a foot of snow in July and August, but it was. You'd wake up in the morning, there'd be some flakes floating around, so it does happen here, So.
Well, I'm reminded of a story my sister Tammy sent me years ago about a couple that moved there from Florida.
Yeah.
And they moved to Montana, big sky, so beautiful. The story sort of continues. They got there in spring, and then they were there for summer and into fall, and how beautiful it was, and tranquil, and they talked, and then winter came, and it got worse and worse.
I know.
And she said by Christmas they were back to Florida.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you plan on moving here, to spend at least one winter, rent before you buy. Yeah. Spend winter looking for your home, but rent while you're here, because you may change your mind.
Very quickly, yeah. True.
There was a thing years ago. I'll see if I can find it. It was some snow letter or something like that, where just moved here, and the wife and I are watching the snow fall, and I had to go out and shovel the snow, and then the snowplow came by and buried the driveway, and here comes that effing snowplow again. And, by April they're ready to shoot the guy. So. Yeah, it was pretty it's pretty funny, but I remember us doing that. We lived here in Bozeman at that time, and we're standing there in our living room looking out the window. Oh, it's snowing! Oh God, we hadn't seen snow for 13 years being in San Diego, So we're going, oh my God, this is beautiful. And then I had to go down and buy a snowblower and ice melt, all the stuff you gotta have. But hey, I wouldn't go back to San Diego on a bet now. I mean, I love Montana. I love the seasons. I whine about the snow, but so does everybody else. So when it's too hot, it's too hot. When it's too cold, it's too cold. But we get through it somehow. So let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Call you on the air. What's up?
Hey, this is Brett.
Hey, Brad.
Okay, also tell them not to buy a Subaru. Try to get through winter with two-wheel drive.
Oh, yeah. That's right, yeah.
Two-wheel drive.
Yeah, no four-wheel drives. Oh, and get a bicycle, too. Get a bicycle.
That's good.
You'll love black ice on your bicycle.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think they do make studded tires for bicycles.
Well, they do, yeah.
But that's still not my idea of fun. It's hard enough trying to get I have a skid steer that I tried to get through downtown Bozeman yesterday. That was not my idea of fun.
I know, man. It's like a washboard down there. If you got false teeth, you're going to lose them.
All right. Well, have a good one.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. All right. Oh, well, we're getting down to the bottom of the hour here. We're still going through the 5 things here that we need to know. Trump going to Alabama to look over. Now, he declared a national emergency there, and nobody seems to be upset about that.
Isn't that amazing?
But
yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, killed 23 people, unfortunately. 4.0 tornado, I guess, through there. 170-mile-an-hour winds going through that area. And, boy, they really they were devastated. We were looking at some of the, the footage of that on TV. And,
Incredible.
oh, man. And a 6-year-old kid, I think, was the youngest one killed. But there was a lot of children in that 23, so it's... Yeah, I've been through a couple of tornadoes that took a lot of trees out of our house back in Illinois. But man, oh man, that was, it's those tornadoes are nasty. They are really
170 mile per hour wind.
I know.
Seriously.
I know.
Whoa.
I know. That's like a I don't know, a warm day in Livingston. Right?
That's right. Yeah. Well,
Yep. Windy today, huh? No, it's only 170. Well,
Yeah,
I'll see you after work.
Fly home.
Well, I don't mean to make a light of 23 people dead, but that was very serious, and hopefully they'll get some help and relief and some low interest loans and rebuild, and they'll be back in back in business again. But
well, and the interesting thing is that under the emergency order he signed, the House has to appropriate money for it.
Yeah.
And so, here we go again. Let's see how quickly the House responds to this emergency.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they will. So, well, the White House is refusing to give the House Oversight Committee files on the security clearance process for Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, but committee Democrats obtained some of the files in early February from White House source. The leaked files detail the process under which Kushner and Trump were granted security clearances between spring of 2017 and spring of 2018, when, according to recent reports, President Trump overruled the concerns of intelligence agencies, his chief of staff, and the White House counsel to grant his daughter and son-in-law top security clearances. And the documents are part of the puzzle that we would be asking for from the White House, a senior Democrat aide told the source of the story. So that would be, yeah. So, go ahead.
2 things. First of all, he's the president, and these people need clearance so they can properly advise him. That's why they're there. So, of course, the Democrats want to make a big deal about this because they don't want to bring up the fact they're blocking it. Another 350 people still haven't been approved.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 2 years into his administration. He still doesn't have a full staff in some of the agencies. And, it's always misdirection, right?
All right.
It's always misdirection.
All right, we'll be back. Bottom of the hour coming up. Fox News, Montana State News, Brooke Foster weather, some other great information from our local sponsors, and Shane and I'll be back right after the news. 26 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Friday, March 8th. Finally Friday, 2019, 25 degrees outside. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor, in the house, and Shane Taubman, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. And you're on the KMMS Morning Soapbox. We're happy to have you here with us this morning. And, well, a couple other things on our 5 things you need to know, Shane. We have the House has to approve a resolution denouncing religious and racial hate, and why? Because one of their members sounded off about Israel.
Well, that's right, Ilhan Omar, and she's from Minnesota, 5th District. Just want to remind our listeners, we covered this story during the election, and the interesting thing about that is, if you remember, there was that huge scandal in Minnesota, in her district, of the daycare program where Somalians had absconded with $100 million in daycare fees. And, this was a big issue in Minnesota. So, interesting she got elected there. Not that she shouldn't have. I'm not saying she shouldn't. But, one of the issues you have to, I'm not wanting to assume anything, but she is Muslim. So obviously she has some disagreement with Israel. But I don't know, Tom, this is one of these things you have to really worry about. It's a slippery slope, because, well, here we go again. Another congressman, hand her a microphone. Because you know what? She's going to say something else. It may be days or weeks, but she'll say something else again.
Mm-hmm. Well, the fact that you even have to have a resolution about this, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, either one, seems,
well, that's right.
Seems like a too little, too late.
Well, that's right, and a lot of the Republicans that voted against it passed 405, 407. So
something like that. So there was some people that voted against it, but
But they said that the reason they did it is because, first of all, the Democrats took several days to write it and rewrite it, and then they handed her the 11-page resolution to review. But they didn't want to mention her name in it, which was the whole reason for it, is what she had to say. The other thing I think that upsets people is that there was that Republican congressman that lost his seats on House committees because of comments they accused him of saying that were racist. Yeah. And a lot of people think she shouldn't be on the Intelligence Committee in the House. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, I would wonder about that. If you have somebody who has it in for a country, particularly, a religious hatred for a country. And I don't know that she hates Israel or not. Her rhetoric would tend to think that they're not best pals. And their prime minister is up for indictment, Netanyahu.
And election.
And election too. Yeah. So are they going to elect an indicted criminal or not? So I guess we'll find out.
We'll find that out. Yeah.
One or the other. He's either going to continue on as the prime minister, or he's going to jail.
The amazing thing is he's up for indictment because he took champagne and cigars from a friend. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, hey. Tough. Paola's payola,
Yeah, it is, buddy. It is. Someone send us some cigars and champagne, will you?
Yeah. From our text line, 478-8298. I've lived here 57 years of my life and was actually snowed in August 23rd one year. Tom asked Andy why he still lives here. If you don't like it, why don't you move? I can help you get to Venezuela, but you have to promise not to come back. So there you are. All right. Let's see. Nope, we don't have any other text there. So, we know this thing passed the House. Why wouldn't it? I mean, come on. It's it's pretty much a no-brainer. And of course, you got to throw in along with anti-Semitism, you got to throw in Islamophobia and white supremacy and all the other things in there that are normally associated with religious or radical hate speech. So there we go. So, and last but not least, of course, why not have a Star Wars land? Disney is going to do that. They're going to have a 14-acre Star Wars theme park. I don't know why they didn't open that on our 443-acre timber thing here, but instead they're going to open it somewhere in California.
Well, yeah, you're going to use the wood to build a big, huge wooden roller coaster.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. What's the deal? They used to be made out of wood, so what's the deal? I mean, come on.
Well, you couldn't make water slides out of them. I mean, ooh.
Well, yeah, that would be a little, I don't know. You'd have to sand those babies down pretty good.
That's good.
Well, anyway, slightly earlier than previously anticipated, Disney had said the opening date would be in the summer for California, and in the fall for Florida. The attraction is debuting early because of the high guest interest. So Disney taking reservations for early June guests and opening one ride at a later date. Galaxy's Edge will allow fans to build lightsabers, pilot the Millennium Falcon, and eat and drink Star Wars themed food and beverages. So there you go.
That's terrific. That's Americana, baby.
There you go. From our text line at 478-8298, trade deficits hit a record high, taxpayers bailing out farmers. Didn't someone warn that Trump's tariffs wouldn't work? Liberal tariffs have never worked. And I would agree with that. They haven't. But most tariffs lasted about 18 months or so. But generally, they're used to move somebody to the table. And we talked about that earlier, where it seems as though China is not going to blink. So I don't know, Shane.
They'll blink, and he'll get what he wants. He's a good negotiator. He'll get her done.
Yeah. Well, China and the markets, they were down 4% this morning.
Yeah, I know.
So that doesn't bode well for them, monetarily.
No, and they have a real serious issue, which we talked about because they have their National Congress on right now.
Yeah.
And, people in China are not consuming. They're saving their money.
Yep. Yeah. So, well, also they've got an age problem because they had the no babies. So they've got a whole bunch of senior citizens now they got to take care of. Well, I don't think they'll take care of them. I think they'll just let them die. But,
Well, yeah, but 60% of their population is over 65. So
yeah,
demographics tell you within the next 40 years there'll be 400 million Chinese. That's wow. What a drop in population.
That would be, yeah. All right, we got to take another quick break, and guess what? No babble, no Noxitril, so enjoy. Shane and I'll be back right after this. 15 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Friday, March 8, 2019, 25 degrees outside. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox. Tom and Shane. Shane Metalbin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor in the house. And, from our text line, good morning, Tom and Shane. Regarding the topic of the Canadian wolves being brought into Minnesota, that you were discussing the other day, I'd like to congratulate Shane and Canada once again being the world's largest exporter of wolves. Have a great morning, you guys. Okay, well, thanks for that. Thanks for that text. Shane is of course, an exporter of wolves. Thank you very much for that.
Well, I just don't know why Australia doesn't send Yellowstone Park some kangaroos.
Well, you would think so. I mean, yeah, that would be kind of cool. Yeah, I'm not sure how kangaroos would take the winter, but I don't know.
It would be fun.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Something bigger than rabbits, right?
They go right in with our, be right in there with our trade balance or whatever.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Other things I guess we should talk about. There's a couple things that I saved a page on here, Shane, and let me pull that up real quick. I should have done it during the break, but let me open it up here. And this is a great story, Shane. You'll enjoy this because, it's a business story. And of course, we all like to save money, but Houston and San Francisco are separated by two states, approximately 1,934 miles and about 4.5 hours by air. Still, a Houston-based law firm thinks that a long-haul commute is actually frugal and a practical choice. So they fly to San Francisco by plane rather than have an office there because it's too expensive.
Wow.
Living in San Francisco is among the highest in the country. San Francisco proper, according to a study from financial website Smart Asset, the cost of living is nearly 63% higher than the U.S. national average, and Real Estate Zillow notes that the median rent for an apartment there is $4,400 a month, and the median price for a home borders $1.2 million.
Well, that's huge, isn't it?
Well, it means you don't want to live in San Francisco these other folks, does it?
Well, and this thing in Washington where, they're going to, the legislature wants to pass a law allowing homeless camps across the state.
Yeah, in Seattle. They're doing that. So let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller. Whoops. Nope, we don't have a caller there. Thought we did, but we don't. So anyway, it's more expensive than Houston. The median rent for an apartment in Houston is $1,500, and the median price for a home is $324,900. So when the law firm which deals in patents and intellectual property decided to expand its reach into Silicon Valley. It opted to keep the staff where they were. So instead of relocating its office or opening a new one in the Bay Area, the firm decided to have lawyers commute once a month for meetings on a 9-seat, $3 million jet equipped with marble paneled cabins and plush leather seats. It was remarkably the cost-effective decision. So there you are.
And they're all Democrats.
Well, I don't know if they are or not, but
just kidding.
Well,
just kidding. Okay, so here's big news.
Yeah.
The U.S. may pass Saudi Arabia by the end of the year as the largest oil and gas exporter in the world.
All right.
And the U.S. combined exports of crude oil, petroleum products, and natural gas liquids currently average 8 million barrels a day.
Yeah.
1 million less than Saudi Arabia. So the U.S. is now 1 million barrels less of these products of surpassing Saudi Arabia as the world's largest export of oil products. Huge, baby.
That is big. All right. Let's take another phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox. What's on your mind?
Hey, this is Aaron. How you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, I got a question for you. How many white people do you think during the slave era actually owned slaves?
Well, very few, I would think, yeah.
Right. It'd be like the top 1%, maybe, right?
Yeah, I would say maybe top 5% because, there was a lot of farmland and things down there. So, yeah, with the population that was there, I would guess 5% conservatively, maybe.
Okay, the top 5% owned slaves. And because of that, only a black person can call another black person the N-word. White people aren't allowed to, right?
Right.
Well, if that Muzzy, what's her name? Omar Ohan or whatever the hell her name is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She is part of a cult that views Jews in the United States as evil, and they want them destroyed, wiped off the face of the earth. Doesn't that same standard apply to her? Like she doesn't really have the moral ground. She's not in that group. She can't talk bad about Israel. Can she?
Well, I would think not, and that's why Nancy kind of came down on her a little bit. I bet she came down on her a lot in private. It said, "Hey, we're not going to. Yeah, you're not going to talk like that outside. Being in this body." And then they put up this resolution to kind of slap her publicly.
Yeah,
for what she's saying. Yeah.
Yeah, imagine if Trump had done the same thing, which essentially he kind of did when he said, "Hey, look, man, these Muslims are not letting them in these countries," and everybody said, "That's racist. You're xenophobic." Well, the hypocrisy of the left is just amazing. They have.
Well, I just want to remind you. Remember last year during the election in your country, everyone was talking about how everyone was so upset with Pelosi and she was the best thing the Republicans had, and the Democrats kept talking about and defending her because she's runs the party so tight and well, and she raises all the money. She's the money bags for the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. And then her daughter came out and made that comment that she's so ruthless she'd cut your throat before you knew it.
Yeah.
So it causes me to wonder if she knows where all the money is in the Democratic Party. I wonder how much she had to do with this leak about Cortez and her $2 million issue now. Sort of suspicious on that one. I think I think that may have come from Pelosi's office.
Well, more than likely, but the hypocrisy of the Democrats. I mean, why don't they just come out and say they're as racist as they ever were? They got that governor. They have the rapist lieutenant governor. So all those guys are still in power. If it was a Republican, those people would have been tarred, feathered, lynched from a.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, look at you could go back to Trent Lott talking about Strom Thurmond, at his wake, being a good guy, but he was a Ku Klux Klan and all that, and he was just drummed out of politics permanently.
This whole thing, it boils down because the media is the gun that the Democratic Party uses to get to push these social agendas. And I'm about sick and tired of there constantly being this assault on the Second Amendment
right.
by the people that that claim that they have this virtue because of the First Amendment. That's the media.
Yeah.
And the Democratic Party was the first one to slam Trump for kicking out Acosta, right? Yet the Democratic National Committee, or what, the DNC, they kicked Fox News. They're going to kick Fox News out of the debates, right?
Yeah.
So the hypocrisy is it's overwhelming, and the fact that nobody's just like hammering this. I can't believe you guys are talking about rent in San Francisco. That's what liberals do. We have it here. We should just be hammering this hypocrisy.
I wouldn't be surprised if they reconsider on the Fox News thing, because they're going to have 22 debates, and I think sooner or later somebody is going to rise up and say, hey, that curtails freedom of speech.
Well, why wouldn't the Democratic Party want to reach half the electorate?
Any Republican that does a debate where Fox News isn't allowed, and I think Fox News is as left as the rest of them. They promote global warming and all the racist hate stuff that the rest of them do. But any Republican that goes to a debate where Fox News isn't allowed, it kind of just exposes them as an establishment. I don't know, not really for America. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got to go, Aaron.
Yeah, you guys be good.
Yeah, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back in 3 minutes. We got about a minute left here before the top of the hour. It's Friday, March 8th, 2019, 25 degrees outside. Shane Tobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. And Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, in the house. And coming up the 8 o'clock hour, we got a call the other day from Andy the Socialist. So I'm going to address that when we come back at 8 o'clock. And from a couple points of view, one is the radio station itself, and the other is why Shane and I are here and what our job is at this radio station. And I think a lot of people are missing those 2 points. So I want to kind of delve into the backstory of KMMS a little bit, and why we do the things we do, why we talk about the things we do, and why all this stuff is here. So we will be back with more of that and discussion about radio after the break at the top of the hour. We got Fox News. We've got Montana State News. We've got Brooke Foster with the weather. And I don't think we've got any Noxatrill or Babble in the first hour. I'm excited. This is going to be a great hour. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more right after this. 3 minutes after the hour of 8 a.m., it is Friday, March 8th. 2019, 25 degrees outside. Shane Tobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, and Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, is in the house. And got a couple texts here, Shay, that we need to get to. One says, thanks for the warning of the offensive commercials. DB doesn't understand why it's offensive. So I'm not sure who DB is, but good for him. And I would like to nominate your Michael Savage spot to be the new Noxatrill. Well, yeah, that's a national spot, unfortunately, so I can't do much about it. But it does get a little, and it's also loud too, man. When I got to take my headphones off when that thing hits. It's not a good thing. Well, yesterday we had a call from Andy the Socialist, and I'm not going to pick on Andy per se, but I think a couple things that Andy doesn't understand about the radio business, and I want to talk about that because this is a business. We're a business here. We're not here to promote any agenda necessarily, but this is a business. We sell advertising, and the reason that we sell advertising is that we can tell advertisers that X number of ears will listen to this station, and the advertising produces customers in their place of business. So that's it. So let's talk about two things. One is we go all the way back to George Carter when Rush Limbaugh first joined the team. And after that, we had Glenn Beck on for a while. We had Michael Savage on for a while. We had Lou Dobbs on for a while. We had all these people on over the years. And we were able to wrestle Hannity away from the folks across town. So we were able to do that. And we had, and the other thing about Rush and Hannity, as part of their contract, they have to be live. So we have to play them live. And fortunately, we're in a time zone that works with New York to do that. And, of course, we had Voices of Montana, and we added Aaron Flint and all of that. Now, why Mark Levin? Well, if we look at Talkers Magazine, and you can go over to talkers.com. This is the magazine of the industry of talk radio, and they rate the heavy 100 of talk radio. And number 1 in talk radio is Sean Hannity. And number 2 is Rush Limbaugh. Number 3 is Dave Ramsey. Number 4 is Mark Levin. So why do we pick these people up? Well, we know that sooner or later, those stations across town are going to come back. We know that. They're already working on it. So we pick up Levin as a blocking move, and Ben Shapiro as well. Those are the top guys right now in conservative radio, and the ratings bear that out, with Hannity being 1, Rush Limbaugh being 2, and Mark Levin being 3. Are we working on Dave Ramsey? Of course, yeah. If there's a way to get Dave Ramsey over here, I would love it. But when Andy was saying, well, I got to endure, conservative talk radio till 8 o'clock at night. Well, there's a reason for that, because they are the most popular people on radio. They attract the most ears, and we can charge for advertising. The more ears we have, the better off we are. So that's why we are trying to get the best people out there. Now, if we go through the top 10 of the talkers, you got Sean Hannity 1, Rush Limbaugh 2, Dave Ramsey, Mark Levin. 5 is Howard Stern. 6 is Michael Savage. 7 is Joe Madison on Sirius. Laura Ingraham is 8. We had Laura Ingraham on for a while. She left radio. Tom Hartman, WYD Media, is number 9, and Mike Gallagher is number 10. So, and Glenn Beck's 11. So that's where that's the top 10 of talkers around the United States. So if you have talk radio, now Town Square Media or Scott, our general manager, they could care less what programs we have on the air. They are not sitting in there saying, well, let's get a conservative program. No. The only reason we have the people on that we have on is because they sell advertising time. That's it. That's the only reason. It doesn't have anything to do with politics. It doesn't have anything to do with anything but money. It's strictly dollars and cents. And that's why they're here. The other thing is, if we pick up Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro, that's a blocking move for the people across town. They're going to have to compete with Rush Limbaugh, number 2. They're going to have to compete with Sean Hannity, number 1. They're going to have to compete with Mark Levin, number 4. So that's why those people are here. Not because of their politics, but because we are keeping the other stations across town, if they open up again, from having those personalities on the air. It's a dollars and cents thing. If the top 10 were liberal, we'd have liberals wall to wall, but they're not.
Mayor, if I may say, if I might, I want to shine some light on the righteous Eagle Man, because folks, you should be proud to be able to have him on the air. He has some of the highest ratings on the network station that he's on, and again, that's why this show is working. That's why they called him when they needed someone. And that's why we're on the air, because people like to hear what we have to say.
Yeah, and we'll get into that as we go along. But the most important thing here that I want to impart on everybody is that, yes, we want to be entertaining, and I know Rush Limbaugh's over the top. I know Sean Hannity is, answer the question. That gets a little old. It really does, And Mark Levin, get off my show, get off my phone. But these guys are national, and, if Shane and I were national, we'd be doing the same thing. We'd be telling you to get off our show, or we tell Andy to take a hike, we don't need you here. But the thing that we have to do here, the job that Shane and I have at this radio station, we have got to do the same thing that Mark Levin, Rush Limbaugh, and Sean Hannity are doing. We have got to put ears on this radio station. And that doesn't mean just conservative ears. That's liberal ears. That's independent ears, Green Party ears, Constitution Party ears, gay ears, straight ears, short, tall, fat, thin, men, women, red, white, black, blue, yellow, whatever. We've got to put as many people on here as we can.
And the thing about it is it's really relative. And so, this is sort of interesting. Thank you, Andy, because you call in, and it's not just what you say, but the manner in which you express your opinion and don't provide an argument with some information. That's why people listen to this, because a lot of people like you, you're about personal destruction. I didn't mind what he had to say, but quite honestly, I took it personally because he attacked me personally.
Yeah.
And, that's the thing about it, folks. Tom and I don't attack anyone personally. All views are welcome. You hear Tom say this all the time. And we have great conversations with people that are Democratic as well as conservative. And so, that's the whole idea here. Let's be transparent. Let's be tolerant. Let's not be bigoted, and allow every view to be shared, listened to, and discussed.
And the other thing that came up is, why is Shane here? Why do we have a Canadian on the air? Why not a real American on the air? Well, Shane is off the charts conservative, and to him that's a compliment. He is a Trumper forever. He is a whatever. Obviously he's Tammy Hall's brother. I don't know how you could get any more conservative than Tammy Hall is. So, but that's not the reason he's here. He's not here because he's a conservative. He's here because he's a very intelligent guy and has a very extensive knowledge of a lot of things that we talk about here, business and money and other things that we discuss. Now, you'll notice sometimes when we have Jeff Krause in, for example, when we're talking about local issue, Shane doesn't chime in on that very much, because that's a local thing, and he's in Canada. It doesn't have a whole lot to do with him, so we don't chat about those things. And sometimes when Jennifer's in, we're talking about legal things. Sometimes we'll jump in on that, and but for the most part, he interjects when he has information, and generally it is accurate information, and that's why he's here, because he's able to articulate himself on the radio fine.
Thank you.
That's you.
Fine.
and he's understandable, and I think adds a lot to the show. And you get two for the price of one. So what's not to like? And we're the only international show in Montana, I'm pretty sure. And we're probably the only two talk radio morning show in Montana.
Or North America.
Or North America. Well, I don't know. There's plenty of but most of the talkers, the top talkers are one person, so.
That's right.
Let's take some phone calls. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Hi, it's Gay.
Hey, Gay.
So I want to know why he has to be so nasty.
Shane's not nasty.
Not Shane. Not Shane.
Oh, okay.
I just don't understand why he had to be nasty. Because, that's the problem with Chris. Wasn't his opinion that he thought an awful lot of his opinions, A, and B, he was always nasty to people. And I wonder why liberals always think they have a right to be nasty.
Well, I don't know. Having been here with Chris, I know what you're talking about, and that's what we don't want to do here. Is I'm not here, Gay, to force my opinion on you. I'm not here to convert you to conservatism or anything else.
Well, I'm conservative on a great many things, but
me too.
I also believe that people have a right to to have their opinion. But
Sure.
I don't think you have to be nasty about it.
I agree.
And I enjoy listening to Shane because he knows a lot of things that I really don't know a lot about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a lot about money. You know, I mean,
sure,
it wasn't my expertise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I like listening to him because he has some good ideas. I like listening to Mike McCormick.
Mm-hmm.
He has some great ideas.
Yeah.
You know, and his ideas are not necessarily conservative.
Yeah,
but
that's
I just
true.
don't
Well,
think you need to call up and then be rude to people.
yeah.
Any people.
Yep. Well, we try not to do that here. As I say, I've ever since we first started this show, I first started this show 15 years ago. I had rules for me, not for the callers or not for the listeners. My rules are I don't hang up on you unless I've got to go to a break or, the computer's going to be taken away from me. I don't call people names, and I don't make fun of people after they've hung up and they can no longer defend themselves.
But all I'm saying, I'm not making fun of him. I'm just saying he doesn't need to be so nasty. He could have got his point across without being nasty.
All right.
I don't like the nastiness, and it always offends me that they think that the only way they can get their point across is by being rude to somebody else, and I don't think that's necessarily true.
Well, there you go.
You all have a good day.
All right. Thanks for the call. Get off my show.
I will.
Thanks, Gay. All right. But yeah, I'm not. I have to make a living for this station. I've got to put on a show that is not strictly for conservative. It's got to be for all listeners, and that's why I say all views are welcome here. I'm not going to beat you up. I'm not going to try to convince you of any direction, any political ideology is the right one. That's up to you. So let's take another phone call, then we got to take a break. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox. What's up?
I just had a question. Was concerning Andy's comments, and then I had a question for Shane as well.
Sure.
So I just wanted to know why they think, or why you guys think that we would want to listen to him. I know that you want to hear everyone's opinions and you want to hear both sides of the argument, but socialism is a whole different argument. That's not the same as being a little bit center left or whatever it is, liberal.
Sure.
Socialism is a whole other step in another direction. And my wife and I tuned in. We've tuned in since it was Tom, and then it was Dominic, and now it's Tom again. We've been long-time listeners, and we enjoy listening to the show, and we enjoy people arguing with the liberals that call in on the show, and even when Dominic and you guys have him in on the show, that's great. But to tune in to listen to socialists try and tell us what we should believe in this country and how we want to turn our country into a S-hole country, I just don't feel that we would tune in anymore and listen if that's the way it's going to go. If it's going to give guys like that a platform to get on here and preach it. We could tune into CNN, we could tune into MSNBC and hear it all day long.
Sure.
It's kind of a break.
Yeah.
It's kind of a break to hear some conservative views. But anyway, my other question for Shane is, why in the world would you move to Canada from Montana?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question, actually. Well, in 81, I decided to leave Montana and Bozeman and tour the country. So I jumped in my Honda and I drove down the West Coast and I drove along the Caribbean coast and up the East Coast and ended up in Massachusetts running a restaurant in Marshfield, Massachusetts. And then after doing that, I went to New Hampshire and opened a restaurant there. And then I decided I'd visit my family, my sister and brother-in-law who now live in Vancouver in Toronto, and met my wife there, and we moved to Vancouver. But, I have to tell you, I have 4 siblings. In 55, when I was 6 months old, the family moved to Billings. And my eldest brother, Cody, and my oldest sister, Tamara Hall, they both became naturalized citizens. And so there you go. My brother, our youngest brother, Pat, he lives in Cutbank, and he's an American. He was born in the U.S. So that's sort of a bit of the history of our family, and I hope that
Well, it was a family. Yeah. Mostly just being near family.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best of luck to getting back to America.
Yeah, there you go. You want to leave that pinko communist country anyway.
I'm coming into July. Tammy's 70th birthday is in July.
Well, maybe.
The family get together.
Hopefully, we'll still be on the air in July. Maybe we'll see. If not, we'll be back on Saturday. So we'll have Shane on Saturday. So there you go. All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening to us. And we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, it is 24 minutes after the top of the hour. It is Friday, March 8, 2019, 26 degrees outside. Shane Matavin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, and half man, half amazing. Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor in the house, and you're on the KMMS morning soapbox. So we've been talking a little bit about radio and how it works and what it is, and it is a business, folks. It is a business. We are not here to try to convince you of any political ideology. We have our own opinions that are formed from years of experience, 50 years in my case, a little shorter than that for Shane, but we are students of politics. We are students of business and money, and that's the two topics that we bring mostly to us here. So let's take...
And remember, conservatives didn't have a voice on TV. Yeah. So, I mean, until Fox came along. Mm-hmm. So talk radio, mm-hmm. conservative talk radio saved AM radio. Mm-hmm. And so it saved the business. And people had an opportunity to listen to conservative talk because they couldn't hear it anywhere else. So that's another thing, right?
Yeah.
Supply and demand, and that's how capitalism mm-hmm. works.
Well, that's why, as I pointed out, when you go through the top 10 talkers, radio talkers from Talker Magazine, they're all conservative. Because that's what people listen to on radio. So let's take some phone calls. 522-TALK is the number. Calling on the Morning Soapbox. What's up?
Is that me, Thomas?
That's you, man.
Well, I think it's about the only place conservatives have a voice. They're knocking them off everywhere.
Well, liberals have a voice here, too, as well. So come on in.
But, I can live with get off my phone and answer the question when it's competing with kill Whitey, kill Trump, impeach 45, and I'm a deplorable. Yeah. I might be a lot of things, and I'll own up to them, but I'm not deplorable.
Well, I know you, Pete, and I would have to agree with that. You're I'm not sure what you are.
Well, you're handsome too, Pete.
Yeah.
I'm an American firster. That's what I am.
Yeah, there you are.
Period. This is our country, and you want to give it away. Well, I'm against that. But I mean, if you look at that thing I sent you, what they're shutting down now, the banks are involved, mm-hmm. businesses are involved. I mean, give me a break. Yeah. And the reason you don't hear a lot of Dems on talk radio because they don't have no idea about nothing. Mm-hmm. And if they do, I ain't hearing it. I'll tell you that. Yeah. They are nasty 24/7 as far as I'm concerned, and they're not above breaking the law.
Yeah.
They'll break the law because it's all about politics to them. They don't give a rat's behind about the good old U.S. of A. And granted, we've had our problems, mm-hmm. But for the most part, the problems aren't. The problem isn't the people; it's the government.
Yeah.
They just did a poll and they said, "What business do you dislike the most?" And the poll came back, government, and they're not even a business. Yeah. Well, I suppose they are a business, not a very good one though. You and I couldn't operate the way they do. But
I would hope not.
Yeah, really. But it's beyond me and these guys that claim that they don't have a voice. What are you talking about? They don't have a voice.
Yeah.
It's the conservatives, the voice that's been blocked, shut down, run out of town. I mean, you name it. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to get on talk radio, like I said, because their ideology is, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Hate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what it sounds like to me. That's what the way they come off anyway. And if you go back, God, I watch that string of clips from Dianne Feinstein and Pelosi and some of these others. They're way worse than what the Republicans want to do at the border. way. I mean, you listen to what those people were saying. You talk about hypocrites.
Yeah. And
I don't know if well, I don't know. Maybe if their ideology has swung that much in 20, 25 years. I mean, help me out here.
All right. Got to go, Pete. Thanks.
Take care.
All right. Caller, real quick. I go about 30 seconds. What's up?
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah.
Shane.
Yeah.
Paul. To kind of sum it up, you wouldn't be in business if you chose the other side, the side that continually fails.
Mm-hmm.
Liberalism has been tried on talk radio, and it fails every time.
Yep.
So you're doing what a business needs to do to survive.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
You bet.
I appreciate it. All right. All right, Shane and I got to get out of here for we've got news at the bottom of the hour and other things. When we come back, we can continue this discussion or anything you guys want to talk about. Open lines. Jennifer is not in today, so anything that's on your minds, all views are welcome here. So we'll be back right after this. 26 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Friday, March 8, 2019, 26 degrees outside. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox. All views are welcome here. Tom and Shane, and Shane and Tom on the line from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. And Tom Eagle, your morning mayor, in the house. And the phones are ringing, Shane, so let's interact with our audience. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox. What's your name? What's going on?
Hey, Shane and Tom. It's Kevin.
Hey, Kevin. How you doing?
Good to hear you guys. So I got a question for you on the Saturday show.
Sure.
Or the show that doesn't exist anymore.
You're right, yeah.
Is there any move? I understand why you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I do work 6 days a week, but you're a little bit older. So
I can't take it anymore.
I can't either.
You want to go back on the radio, Kevin?
Well, if I didn't work Saturday, I would think about it. But that's the point of my call is: is there any movement on that? And I was curious about if Larry was still around. I know, or did he go back to South Carolina? Because I know he would be, chomping at the bit, but I'm assuming he's not here.
Yeah, I don't know. I run into him very rarely anymore. I'm not sure what he's up to. The problem that Larry had, he had so many terrible things happen in his family.
Right.
He lost a son, he lost mom, and he couldn't be here enough. And Chris said, hey, if you can't be here, then we can't do the show. So that's kind of the thing. So I'm not sure what his status is. I haven't talked to him in quite a while. So, as you well know, and you used to be part of it, we had radio on Saturdays from 8 in the morning to late in the evening, local radio, with local volunteer people doing it. And I would love to return to those days, but as far as my situation here, I have heard nothing. I'm just here day to day.
I mean, I know that, there's still, people at least who've been on the radio in the past, Henry Kriegel's still around.
Yeah, sure.
There's still, I'm sure, people who are out there would be willing. And I just don't know if the studio, I listen to Rush every day with you guys, but I don't need to hear them again on a repeat on Saturday.
Yeah. If I were to get this position, I think I would probably move to that. I know we've got some kind of contractual deal with Rush on that, which is why he's on. I think that's part of the deal. If you're going to carry him, you carry the weekend too. But we could, put things in before him or after him. They just moved him into my old spot on Saturday, and we, if I went back to Saturday, we just move him back. Where it was.
The Saturday show, I mean, beyond you being a good host, is that there's a little different format where it's a little
right. Yeah, we had a little more freedom there. We had more time, not as much commercial interruptions, and we could cover things in more detail on Saturdays than we can here in the mornings, unfortunately. But as I said, it is a business. So
right. No, I understand that. So, but I just want to let you know, there's one voice out here that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Shane wanted to work 6 days a week, but
get Shane in there.
Well, you come in and run the board, and we'll put Shane on Saturday. There you are.
All right, what about Clint? I know Clint's looking for a job.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You think we could take 3 hours of Clint?
No one would get a word in edgewise.
Well, hey, that's all right. He's a good guy. Oh, I'd give him 3 hours if it was up to me.
Absolutely. No, I love it when Clint calls in. All right, we'll see what happens.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you listening. Thanks a lot. All right. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, thanks for waiting. What's on your mind?
I was just calling to let your listeners know that eastbound traffic between Belgrade and Bozeman is a complete standstill.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was going to announce
even
that.
Even through town in Belgrade, there is.
Apparently,
no one knows how to drive in the wintertime. So
apparently not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
With all the wrecks on the interstate last night, I think people would be extra careful. But
nope.
That's what's going on here. I'm literally parked on the interstate right now.
Well, thanks for listening to us while you're there. So, I appreciate that.
I don't have a choice.
I hear you. All right. Hey, well, thanks for the info. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks for what you guys do.
Thank you. Yeah, we had an accident at Main Street, and I think we had a rollover at 19th. So between Bozeman and Belgrade, it is a parking lot out there. So, by all means, be careful and. Well, hopefully you'll eventually get to work if that's where you're going. So we hope everyone's okay with the accidents, but we'll see what's going on. But let's go back to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Call you on the air. What's up?
Morning, Eagle-Meister.
Yeah.
Hey, good morning, Nasty Shane.
He is nasty, isn't he? Yeah, what a nasty, nasty Canadian pinko.
Shane, cut it out. Please cut it out. There haven't. What I got to say about Shane, though, he does stand his ground. It's factual, substantive, intelligent. I think that's the way it should be. But sometimes only he's half man and half pit bull.
Well, yeah.
Because he gets going on these socialists, and that's the way it should be.
Well, maybe I should change his name. Maybe he's not half man, half amazing. He's half man, half pit bull.
Or, you can quarter it up, Tom, or make it thirds,
Well, there you are. Yeah. Yeah, 1/3 man, 1/3 amazing, 1/3 pit bull. All right, I like it.
I was all prepped to do battle with Jennifer this morning.
Oh, yeah.
There, huh?
No, she's doing a deposition this morning with some government folks. So
yeah, she's a worthy adversary. I mean, I respect her. She's an intelligent woman. She differs in my opinion, but I love people like her too. She sticks her opinion, but she's factual and substantive, and I don't mind talking to liberals like that at all. The ones that get under my skin, they're misinformed. Yeah. They don't check their facts. They fly off the cuff, and half of it's a lie. I mean, they just make things up.
All right, man.
That's the people I have the problem with.
All right. Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
You bet.
All right. Let's take one more quick call, and we got to take a break. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
I bet you it's a Californian tried to pass somebody on those icy roads.
I wouldn't doubt it. I would bet that's probably what it was. So, all right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. 15 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Friday, March 8, 2019, 27 degrees outside. Got a caller waiting on the line. And caller, you are on the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Nastiness is in the eye of the beholder. People are decrying nastiness. Mm-hmm. But it seems that it's fair game for callers to call other callers nasty things. There's this one guy, what was his name? Daniel R. Peterson.
Yeah.
That took some very nasty shots. He doesn't really say much about his name anymore. Not that he's so egotistical, but if Shane Talbot can say his full name, why can't anybody else say their full name? But so I would say that examine nastiness because there's plenty of nastiness in this world. Criticism, judgment, and then a shot of deep condemnation. It's just not very civilized, but people think they can do it all over the place.
Well, I agree with you. As I say, all views are welcome here, but I can't control the callers. They have their opinion. If they disagree with you in a rude manner, unfortunately, that's the issue of talk radio, that some people are going to disagree with your facts, and some people are just going to disagree with you and personally attack you.
Yeah, well, that's the way the ball crumbles.
Yeah.
That's it. Play on.
Well, that's why we have a text line too. If you don't want to be berated by callers, you could text us at 478-8298. They have no idea who you are, and they can still disagree with you without personally attacking you.
I'd be the first to sign the Constitution. That's
free speech is what it is. It's free speech. Yeah. Yeah, as long as
walk around with a mask on, everybody'll be walking around with ski masks on pretty soon.
Yeah, if you, as long as you don't say the 8 words you can't say.
And I am in a flash if I could. There were only words.
Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks for the call. No, I think I would tend to agree with you. Yeah. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox. What's up?
Hey, Tom and Shane. It's Mare.
Hi, Mare.
Hey, I just want to report that there's a Social Security scam going on over the phone.
Okay.
I got a couple of calls. One, it was from Willis, Texas, from a number I didn't recognize, so I didn't pick it up. And they left a message, and the message was some robotic woman saying, call this number. It's about Social Security. So I did. Of course, I got a guy that could barely speak English, which was a first red flag.
Yeah.
The second one was when he asked me for the last 4 digits of my phone call and my Social Security number.
Yeah.
I refused to give it to him. He hung up on me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, there you go. Well, a couple hours later, I got a call from the same number, so I answered it, and it was the same robotic woman saying to call. So I called again. Well, this time I got a woman who said she was Officer such and such, and could I give her my first name? And I said, no. And I said, I don't know who you are. And she said, well, I am who I said I am. And I said, well, yeah, and I'm Batman, but,
What's your point?
It doesn't make me Batman
yeah.
because you say it, and we ended up, she ended up screaming at me.
Oh, yeah.
And so I told her, I said, if there's a problem with my Social Security, I'll go to the office here,
Yeah.
instead of giving you information over the phone. So I'm just warning people,
Yeah.
if they call, don't give them don't give them anything.
Yeah.
Just either, there's a number in the phone book you can call or go to the office. But it's a scam. So.
Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
I think it was 917 or 916. I don't really remember. But,
okay.
But I wouldn't even bet on that because they changed the numbers. I just don't give the information. Just say you'll go to the local office, or you make the call from the phone number in the phone book.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I know Tim Fox is going after robocalls pretty good here in Montana, so I'm going to contact their office, see if we can get him on sometime in the next week or so, and maybe you can talk about some of the scams that are going on. But we appreciate that, and don't give anybody information over the phone. Social Security's not going to call you. The IRS is not going to call you.
Right.
The police aren't going to call you.
I don't know how else to get the message out there, and it's just for people on Social Security. Don't buy into it. Don't do it.
Don't do it, man.
Just go to the office or call them on your own.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't even go to the office because I know it's a scam, so there's nothing wrong with my account. But I have other options than giving my information
That's true.
out over the phone to people I don't know.
There you go. Hey, thanks for the call.
Okay.
Thanks for the info. We appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Uh-huh.
All right. We got to take a quick break here. We got the Rush update and some other things, so we'll be right back. 4 minutes for the top of the hour. It's finally Friday. Shane, we're wrapping up a big week here. A lot going on. We've been pretty busy here. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Well, our poll question of the day is, which of these do you try to avoid when camping in the woods? And camping in the woods is winning out by 2%, Shane, over bears. I would think you do want to watch out for bears. And Bugs is Bugs is tied with bears. And snakes are at the bottom with 13%. So if you want to be a part of that poll, get over to KMMSAM.com or on our smartphone at AM 1450 KMMS. And if you're coming from the Butte area, Three Forks, Manhattan, whatever, it's a parking lot from Belgrade to Bozeman. We've had an accident at Main Street exit and also possibly a rollover at 19th. So you may want to avoid that area. Go through Belgrade over to Huffine or take the frontage road, depending on where you're going. And try to avoid I-90 if you can. Yeah, come into Bozeman, spend some money.
There you go.
You got a good excuse for being late to work because I-90, I think last we heard was a parking lot out there. So I'm sure it's just backing up further and further. So we hope everyone is safe. I hope no serious injuries from those accidents. But yeah, you got to be careful out there with the snow and the ice and everything. We get folks out there that think they're better drivers than they actually are, and or go too fast, or
they're from California.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's what they were saying. Somebody from California probably trying to pass somebody on the ice and did a 360 and wasn't. Don't do that in California. So I don't know what. Anyway. Thanks everybody for the. It's been a great week on the show. I think we've done a pretty good job, and the last thing I guess I want to cover here in the few seconds we've got left is that one of Andy's comments was we should be more fair and balanced. Well, I think if you'll go to KMMSAM.com and click on Tom and Shane's podcast, I do a summary of every hour. So I think you'll find that the first hour we do a lot of local stuff. Second hour we do the 5 things you need to know, and that can be news all over the place. And then the third hour is mostly either a guest or we have open lines like we did today. So we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. But I think if you go over and look at the summaries of what we talk about, I think you'll see very little Republican or Democrat bashing or anything else like that in there. So just to put that to bed. So, all right. If you missed any of our past shows, obviously they're over at KMMSAM.com. We try to get them up before noon the day we do them. So by all means, get over there and check it out. We just passed 400 downloads, Shane, I think. We just passed, we're at 392. 392 downloads for 102 episodes. And yeah. That's pretty good. We appreciate all of you downloading our episodes, and you can listen to them at your leisure on your smartphone or on your laptop or wherever. So by all means, thanks for being here, and we'll see everybody bright and early Monday morning. Thanks, Shane.
Thank you, Mayor. God bless. Be happy. Be safe.